Hey everybody, another Friday morning. This time we are out at 7:57, so cutting it kind of close in terms of when the yard sales start. But I thought I would take you along with me again because wasn't that fun last week? Yeah, it was. So we're gonna do it again. I do have a vague idea of where I'm going for a couple of these sales, and it's Labor Day weekend. So I'm expecting some good stuff to be happening this weekend. There's usually it's usually a pretty big yard selling weekend for Labor Day, and kind of like the last hurrah. I mean, there'll still be yard sales after this, but I think this is one of the last big weekends that they have. I keep going all the way through the fall though. So I have one yard sale that I'm kind of hesitantly optimistic about, and I really don't know if I should be happy about this or not, because frankly there are a lot of warning signs, a lot of red flags with this. But I was looking through Craigslist last night just to kind of give me a vague idea of where I might want to head, and the oh crap, am I even going the right way? Let me think here. Yeah, I think I'm good. All right. Anyway, one of the listings said Super Nintendo and Nintendo 64 and a few other consoles that are newer, like Xboxes and PlayStations and whatnot. And I saw that and I got kind of excited, obviously, because those are things that I would like to pick up, the Super Nintendo and the Nintendo 64. But man, when you see a listing like that, you know, like I get kind of excited, but I'm also a little worried too, for a few reasons. One of them being if the yard sale, the person holding the yard sale, if they know that the item is good enough to feature on a listing, that usually would kind of say to me that they might charge a lot for it. So those are all featured items on their listing. I have a weird feeling that they're probably going to ask a lot of money for them. And then the other thing is that pretty much anyone who's looking for those things knows this yard sale has them, right? Because it's on the listing. And unfortunately, retro gaming consoles are a pretty hot commodity these days. Whenever I go on Craigslist, if you type in like video games, you'll find, at least for me in this area, I find like at least a dozen listings of people looking for, we buy and sell used games, and it's like, crap. So I know that there's a lot of people out there looking for this kind of stuff, and it worries me that this was just out there on the list, ready for anyone to kind of pick up. So yeah, I'm kind of worried about that in terms of, not worried, just I kind of feel like I'm probably not going to be able to get the items. I'm pretty sure like I'll either get there and they're going to want friggin' $100 for it, or I'm going to get there and they'll be gone already. So fingers crossed on that. Pray for me. No, don't pray for me. That's ridiculous. Don't do that. But yeah, I'm hoping for the best, I guess is what I should say. Hoping for the best. Alright, so first sale of the day is over with, and I gotta tell you, it was amazing. It was a really, really good sale. It was crazy. It was, oh man, I don't even know how to tell you about this one. It was one of those places where like you walk around a little bit and there's just so much stuff packed in to all of the corners everywhere that you could, it's so easy to miss something, so you don't want to leave. I was there, it's 8:45 now. I had to have been in there at least about half an hour, maybe 35 minutes or so. It was really, really cool, and the guy was awesome. I mean, his prices were amazing. He gave me stuff. He's like, "Oh, just take that. That's okay. Throw it in. No problem." It's like, okay. and then other stuff that he just wants a buck for, a couple of dollars here. You know, I end up spending $5 on a few bags of things, and it's good. It's pretty good stuff, I think. Some of it might not be, but I'm pretty happy with that find. When I first got there were, as soon as I pull in, I hate when this happens, it kills me. As soon as I pull in, there were a couple of people leaving, and don't you know, man, they were leaving with Halloween stuff, and I was like, God damn it. You know, I mean, it didn't look like necessarily amazing Halloween stuff. There were a couple plastic jack-o'-lanterns, and he had something in a bag that I couldn't see. But I was still kind of disappointed. I'm like, oh, you know, he got the Halloween stuff. But when I went in, there was a couple other cool little Halloween things that I got. And then I usually don't like last time I didn't do any reveals until later, but I'm gonna tell you this because it was just so cool. I asked him if he has any 80s stuff or any video game stuff or anything like that, and he's kind of like, I don't know what's in here, you know, there's all kinds of crap everywhere. I'm like, all right, and it, generally speaking, didn't really look like a place that would have a whole lot of video game type stuff or 80s stuff or anything like that. So I'm walking around, I'm looking around, and I moved, there was a book, and I moved the book out of the way, because I was just moving stuff around, there's stuff everywhere, so I moved a book out of the way, and sitting underneath the book, there's a Nintendo game, just sitting there. I'm like, what the hell? It's like, okay, so I picked that up, I'm like, this is awesome, where did this come from? How is this here right now? I don't know. So I'm like, all right, I can't believe I found this. This is great. I'm happy now. Well, don't you know it? I look over to the side. There's two more. I'm like, holy crap. So I grab a couple. I'm like, hey, I found a couple of video games. How much you want for these? And he's like, is that all? I was like, I don't know. I saw these 3. He's like, right there. I look over. There's another like 4 or so in another bin sitting there. I'm like, what the hell? And I start just collecting these games. I found another one on the floor sitting down there. I mean, there were a couple of them were pretty dirty and may not play, but for the most part, they looked all right. And I asked him how much. He's like, I don't know, a couple bucks for all of them. I'm like, yeah, I'll take that. Awesome. So I got some Nintendo games. We'll see. Later on, I'll let you know what the other stuff I got was, but I got a couple Halloween things, I got a couple of little vintage knickknacks, I got the video games, I'll show you the other stuff later, and then, there was an, I want to say like maybe late 80s, early 90s Matchbox, set. Like, it was like a play set, you know, you put it together and you play with the cars on it and everything. He only wanted a buck for it, and I initially put it to the side and said, yeah, I'm going to take this. But it was a big box, and there was a lot of crap in it, and it probably is worth some money. I'm positive that you can probably get some money for that, especially at $1. But frankly, I've never been a huge Matchbox fan. I mean, I had some Matchbox cars, but you know, it's not something that I don't want it for myself. And it was a bulky box that I don't have the room for. Even at $1, I decided to skip it. So I left it behind. I feel like I might regret that later on, but it was a decision I made because I just didn't want a whole lot of stuff, and I don't have room for it right now. So that was that. I'm currently on the way to the yard sale that supposedly has the Super Nintendo and Nintendo 64. It is early still. It is only 8:49, and they don't start till 10, so I'm taking a little bit of a chance going there this early. I'll be there in like 5 minutes. So I'll let you know how that works out. Hopefully they'll let me in. Hopefully they're setting up or something so I can get a look at these video game systems, but you know, there's a chance where that they're either not set up yet or that they'll, you know, tell me to leave or something like that. It's happened. So I'll let you know. Going down the back road here, looking for the sale that doesn't start for another hour, hoping for the best. Okay. So I had thought I was recording for a while there, but I wasn't. So I said a bunch of stuff to no one. I guess I'll go through it all again. I'm leaving a different yard sale now from the other. Well, all right. So I went to the yard sale with the games, the video game one. I think that's the last thing that I have on tape actually saying to you. Now, when I got there, they were still setting up, obviously, because I was there like an hour early, and there was no sign out or anything. Whoa, lots of gravel. There was no sign or anything, but I saw them setting up, so I went over and they were nice enough. They let me come up. They got the box of stuff out. Unfortunately, they did not have a Super Nintendo system. They just had a bunch of Super Nintendo games, and then they had the Nintendo 64 system with a few games as well. Unfortunately, the girl who was selling it had pretty much researched every single item and priced it out for based on eBay. She claimed that she basically took the average completed listing prices for each game and then halved it for the yard sale. I took her word for it. I don't really know what the prices of these things are for the most part. Now, about 5 minutes into my talking to her, because she was taking a really long time figuring out all the prices and everything, some other guy arrived, and I knew immediately the way he was looking at me and kind of eyeing the box of games that he was there for those games. That's why he got there too, and he was there super early as well. Frankly, if I got there 5 minutes later, I may have not gotten what I got. So this guy is there now, and he's basically hovering around. He said, they asked him, he's like, yeah, I'm here for the games. Actually, no, he looked at me, he was like, are you buying all those? And I was like, well, I'm trying to get a price for it. So he's hovering, he's watching, he's waiting to see what I don't buy, I guess. And unfortunately, the price of the one box that she had, now the box had the Nintendo 64, a few games for the 64, and then like 6 or 7, I would say 6 games for the Super Nintendo, and a couple other miscellaneous things I'll get to later. She priced it out at $69 for that. Now, unfortunately for me, not only is this guy standing there waiting for me to make my offer, but I only have $40 on me too. So I really don't have much wiggle room here. Right around this time, they come out with another box of games, and the other guy who was standing there kind of snagged it and started looking through it, basically putting his dibs on it since it was not already within my dib area. So he kind of got a hold of that stuff. I didn't have the money for everything anyway, and they weren't really budging too much on price at that point. So I told the guy that he could have all the Super Nintendo stuff if he wanted, because I don't have a Super Nintendo, and there's no way for me to play those games at the moment. Although I would have liked to take everything, her prices were a little too high for that, so I offered $40 for basically all of the Nintendo 64 stuff, plus a couple of Game Gear games that were in there, and a few other... there was a game... I want to say Game Shark? Let me take a look here. Yeah, it's a Game Shark. So, she took that, the $40 for that. I felt like it was a little expensive. It wasn't as cheap as I would have liked. I would have much preferred $40 for everything she had, but that just wasn't going to happen. So I did get the Nintendo 64, some games, the Game Gear stuff. I'll show everything to you a little later. But unfortunately, it's a little closer to retail prices than I would like. I would have preferred it to be a lot cheaper, but what are you gonna do, So I was curious because that guy was asking for the price of everything that was left, all the games, which were, I want to say, about a dozen Super Nintendo games and like maybe 2 or 3 Nintendo 64 games. And I was curious to see, where that would land. So I hovered around myself for a while, and I waited long enough to hear her quote him a price of about $180 for the games, which is fucking crazy. I mean, I guess they're worth that. I guess. I don't know, really, but there's no way I would have been able to ever even come close to buying any more of those things. So, that was it. I didn't wait to see if he got how much I didn't wait to see what happened after that. I was just curious about the price that she would quote. I'm sure he talked her down a little bit. I don't know if that guy had like hundreds of bucks with him and was willing to spend it, but more power to him. He got his Super Nintendo stuff. Alright, so after that, I was completely broke, but I did go to this one last yard sale anyway, because I have a little change in the car, and I found one item for $2 that I'll show you guys in a bit, and I basically paid him in all dimes and nickels. What are you gonna do? Down to dimes and nickels, It is now 9:46, still pretty early, but I am tapped out. I'm done for the day. What am I gonna do? No more money. So I will probably go pick up a coffee, maybe make a video, finish up this, show you what I got at all the yard sales, and yeah, that'll be about it, I guess. So, thanks for watching for now. I'll see you in a couple minutes once I have a little coffee in me and I'm feeling a little more energized and hopefully not regretting that $40 that I spent. I think what really sucks is the yard sale right before that. I spent $5 and got a ton of amazing stuff. And, when you pay true yard sale prices for stuff, only to then have to pay, kind of almost retail price for something, it sours it a little bit. But anyway, I'll see you in a bit.